Good afternoon all, welcome back to Patrol Base TV. I'm Stu and I've brought out a requested item more on the sort of platform rather than this specific model, but we've had loads of questions about a certain style of play and a certain style of build. So if you have any questions on the CYMA Platinum, DMRs in general, or any questions about the actual CM.098 that I have in front of me, just drop them down below. We'll flash them up on screen and make sure that your question gets answered as quickly as possible. As always, we'll start at the front and work our way back. Obviously, this thing is an absolutely huge platform. It is over a metre in length and can be made a little bit longer at that end. But the first thing to note on this is it's not threaded. So normally you have the 14mm counterclockwise thread or a clockwise thread on the front of a platform. This allows you to put tracer units, suppressors, anything like that on there. This thing doesn't. There's a little QD tab here without hitting the microphone. I'll hit that and it slides off and you find the actual barrel assembly. So this comes in the box. There's no extra bits and this is spring loaded to get it on and off nice and easy, but it is detented so it fits in a certain way. So if we slide it back on, click the button down, and your suppressor is fitted nice and simply. This is, bearing on the real steel variant, is the suppressor is only meant to be so long. It's just for stabilization and fitment purposes. It is such a long device. So it's not a full suppressor. It's only half of this is actually a suppressor, but it's spring loaded. There's foam in there. It does muffle the crack a very slight amount, but most of the noise out of this comes from the gearbox anyway. Come a bit further back, so you've got the controls there to your QD point for the suppressor, and then you have the flip-up iron sights, if you can see that from behind the microphone. There it is. Nice and easy. There's no spring on that. It's literally push and pull, and you can throw your iron sight up and down. Same at the back, but the back one does have a detent in it, so it does stay upright. Come into the quad rail at the front. 4-point rail, quad rail, however you want to describe it. So standard 20mm rail, top, bottom, left and right hand side. Plenty of space on this for pec boxes, rangefinders, grips, bipods, absolutely anything. You could throw a UGL or something underneath this in case if you do run this as a DMR and you either have a sidearm or you want to just scare someone off with something a bit beefier, you could throw an underslung on here and have some 40 mics, master mics or anything and just have that as your deterrent, we'll say, rather than having a pistol or a sidearm. Coming a bit further back, we do have the receiver, which is where the main difference on this one is compared to some other standard platforms that we have. As you can see, that the magazine is a lot larger than other stuff that we've shown recently, and that's because this is the SR25 style of platform rather than the SR16 or M4 or AR15. So it's modelled around a 7.62 platform, so the magazine is much bigger. Not really a massive effect in airsoft with it being the caliber always being 6mm. So all it does is it's for looks. You do get a slightly bigger high cap. So in this there is 500 rounds in there, and it is a window. So open it up, the top window, pour your BBs in, wind it using the winder at the bottom that you might be able to see there, and you can just run all day with it. Really good. So a lot of people sort of shy away from high caps thinking, oh, I don't want them, I want mid caps because they feed better. High caps have a great place in airsoft for when you get hold of your first riff or AG or anything like that, and you don't want to have to budget in for tons and tons, 3, 4, 5 mags that can be however much. You just throw one high cap in your platform, in this, in an M4, in your Firehawk, anything that you want, you can just run and gun all day. It's great. So it lets you get on the field at a much cheaper cost to yourself rather than having to budget in all that, because you're going to have to buy batteries, you're going to have to buy chargers, you're going to buy iPro. It's just another thing that you don't have to factor in. So they do have a great purpose. Jurassic Cheese Squad is back with his great name on YouTube. Would you recommend a red dot or a scope? Completely up to you, really. There's a couple of options. So if you're running, so I've brought this out mainly because of the sort of lone survivor vibe that it gives off. If you wanted to build a DMR, so if you are looking at sort of taking this up to that 400 FPS mark with the scope, you wanting to get the range out of it, everything like that, there's nothing wrong with putting a short on this, a full blown 2 to 12 sniper, a 1 to 6, anything like that. But if you wanted this to be a standard AR platform and run around and keep the full auto capability this has. A dot and a magnifier would work perfectly fine. It might look a little bit weird with just a dot on there. It might the dot might get a bit lost in the sort of rest of it. But obviously I've brought this out to view it as a possible DMR build, but it does have full auto out the box. So you do have ambidextrous controls, so it comes around to semi and flicks all the way around. So it does have full auto. So if you are wanting to turn this into a DMR, you will have to lock that off either electronically or mechanically. The great thing with this, though, is many times in the past, the SR25, loads of people have wanted to run this as a DMR. The problem is, if you ever got lockup, so once you're in semi-auto, for whatever reason, if the gearbox locked up, you didn't then have the capability to stick it into full auto and unlock it by just firing it off. So you were kind of stuck and you had to get inside it and unlock it manually or another way. Because this is a Platinum series, it already has the MOSFET inside. So when you stick your battery in this, it starts up with a load of beeps, does its self-assessment, checks everything inside it, and it just means that every cycle is going to be correct. So you're not going to have any problems with lockup. You're going to have consistent power to your trigger. You might be able to hear the micro switch going off there, so you don't have standard trigger contacts that could potentially burn out. You do have that micro trigger. You've got that incredibly fast and consistent delivery of power to your motor, to your piston, and everything like that. The trigger response on this is excellent. It's a lot of fun, and you have an absolute chunk of battery space. Sam the Scout on YouTube. It's a shame I actually play at CQC only, or I would totally buy a DMR. Again, if this does float your boat, you don't have to run this as a DMR. So I mean, it's probably not far on. So my M4 with the stock out is probably to about there. So I think the suppressor takes this a little bit long. But I run a Salient Grey long, and I've run that in CQB. It's just, you just got to get used to it. If it's the style or if there's look you want to go to, it's totally usable. Obviously you can get close to corners and stuff like that, but with this, just take a step back, cut the corner a bit more, and you'll still be able to slice the pie and have some fun indoors. So other features, so we do have the hop up. So you will find in there, again, a rotary hop. Excellent for DMRs and ARs alike. Super consistent. Once it's set, it's not going to shift. It's not going to move. It's going to be awesome. And obviously it does have a semi-functioning bolt release on this side. Just puts it away, so when you fire a couple of rounds off, you can then swap your hop and then carry on playing. So super easy to adjust your hop, get the right spin on your BB, and make sure it is running properly. Mag release is only on the left-hand side, so it's slightly right-handed biased, but 90% of the controls are ambidextrous. Charging handle back, covered the rear iron sights, and then you do have these silver bits at the back here are QD sling points. You do have a standard loop at the back, and this button here, press that, slide it back, this is how you adjust your stock. So if you want it a bit longer, this is also how you get to the battery compartment. If you press that, take that piece all the way off, there's a little door, you can open it up, and then you have this entire stock for battery space. So if you wanted to run a big block 8.4 or a 9.6 NIM, you've got tons of space. This thing is going to last you all day. Completely capable of taking a 7.4 LiPo, anything like that. But if you want to stick a block battery in here and just be able to sit and run this thing with the 500 rounds in it, you could just run this all day and not have to worry about going back to a safe zone, changing your batteries, charging your mags up or anything. You could just run and gun all day. So, as always, if there are any questions now that I've covered a few of the features, by all means, drop your questions down below, but we'll have a little dive internally of what else this thing have. But if you do have any other questions, please just throw them up. So, with it being a DMR again, or a potential DMR, if you lock off that semi-auto, it does have a 500mm 6.03 inner barrel. So it's got the type bore, it's got the length. This thing is going to be pin accurate at a very, very good range. Again, range, we can't really dictate how far it's going to go because it also depends on whether or not you're going to take it that DMR power, if you're going to go to the 370, 380 kind of mark, or what weight BB you're going to run. So 2.8s, 3s, anything like that. If you're going to be a DMR, you want to be looking at 3s, 3.2s. If you keep into that AR 350 limit, stick to your 2.8s, 2.5s, and you're going to have loads of fun. Sam on Facebook, can this keep up with the other Platinum rifles from CYMA? Absolutely. So the Platinum series is what they've done internally, not externally. So this has exactly the same capabilities as any other Platinum series that we've covered before. The only difference is the receiver slightly different, the magazine's different, and obviously it has big stock, big long rail, and outer barrel and suppressor. Apart from that, the MOSFET's still the same, the power delivery is the same, the wiring's the same, the trigger response is the same, the rate of fire is all the same. It's purely externally that they've slightly changed it, just to give you options, and that's mainly it. Because we always like to say that we could probably tell you what the best gun out there is, the best pistol out there, everything like that. But a lot of airsoft is the look. If you don't like the look of what you're running around with, you're not going to really enjoy your day. The other part of it is consistency, confidence in your gear, and this will give you that. The consistency between shots with this, you're just going to know where that BB is going to land every time, and you can have loads and loads of fun if you know where that BB is going to land. You might not be reaching out and hitting the range of some other people off the bat, but it's totally capable down the line. But if you have consistency in your gear, you're going to have loads of fun. So other bits internally, the MOSFET, as I've said before, so when you plug this in, it starts up like a computer. It goes and it also has battery detection. So if your battery is low power, it will cut off. If there's a fault with your battery, it'll give you a warning to stop you low charging your lipos, anything like that, and stop any shorts inside. Also, with the MOSFET, it does mean you're getting consistent power delivery to your trigger. Again, the little micro switch in there, every time you hear that click, it's going to loose a round off. It's going to cycle correctly, and you're never ever going to get lock up in this thing. If you do keep full auto, the rate of fire on this thing is stunning. It's awesome. And the other part is obviously the gearbox, with it being one of the Platinum series. If you are wanting to go to that DMR, it is a quick change spring. So you could swap the spring out, but then you will have to either electronically or mechanically lock your semi-auto. Polysword. Is it an M-lock rail system? No, this is the standard 20mm. So you have a 20mm quad rail on left, right, top, and bottom of the front end. There is a slight gap where the delta ring is, so it's not flush to the receiver, but then you have standard 20mm rail on the top of the receiver for any optics or anything like that. It just means that if you are going for that Lone Survivor SPR style look, you could throw a bipod on here, you could throw a grip at the back, you could throw a pec box on the side, rangefinder, anything like that, and then throw your scope back here. But what you do have a little bridge gap there, so if you were wanting to mount it slightly forward, you could still put your scope rings on either side of the receiver and the rail. This thing does come in a little bit of weight. It is quite balanced. The sort of centre's about here, so when this is shouldered, or if you bipoded up and you're in a static position, it's not going to be fine. It's not going to be bad, but it is about 3.5 kilos. So you are going to know about it running around this compared to a standard AR, but it's not terrible. You're not running around with 8-9 kilos of LMG like some crazy people do. But if there's any more questions, please throw them up. We'll do a quick summary of the features and make sure we've got everything. So as I was saying earlier at the front, there is no thread on the front of this one. It is simply a QD style suppressor that goes straight onto the barrel, so you can't really swap that out. It just clicks on, clicks off. It does mean that it's easier to put into cases or anything like that, because this thing is just over 1 meter long in its collapsed form. If you take that off, it just means it's a little bit easier. Coming back, you have standard flip-up iron sights. The rear iron sight does have a detent to hold it in place. The front one is just a flip and go, nice and easy, just in case your optics fail or you're just running this clean out the box. Quad rail for your, again, bipod grip, pec box, any other features, lasers, tactical gear and kit that you need on the front, and then a 20mm rail on top of the receiver for your optics, whether or not it's a dot magnifier combo, short dot, or full-blown magnified optic. 500 round high cap that comes with it, filled from a window at the top and a wheel at the bottom to make sure it's primed all the time. Do have a functioning mock bolt in there to get to your rotary hop, and again the bolt release on this side locks it closed. Mag release is on the right hand side, and you do have an ambidextrous fire selector. Yes, this is sort of looking towards the DMR style build, but it does have full auto capable out the box, so if you wanted to do that DMR, you will have to lock off that full auto. It does just mean that with this thing being about 340 out the box, it does mean it is totally usable. You've got that semi-auto, you've got that full auto, you can run around for a bit, see if you like it, and then see if whether or not you want to go to the DMR later. Jurassic Cheese Squad on YouTube. If you were to put two-tone on this, which parts would be two-tone? I would be guessing on the website, if you do click the two-tone option, it tells you exactly the parts that are two-toned, but I would say it would be the rail, stock, and probably the top of the receiver, possibly the suppressor. If you go on the website and click the thing, whatever is demoed on the website is as close to accurate as we can give you as a representation of what's going to be two-toned. Sometimes if the model changes slightly, sometimes manufacturers make slight adjustments in the build. They might slightly change a rail or they might slightly change the receiver. If that changes, we try and change the images as quickly as possible. If something comes with rail covers, we won't paint them, and we don't paint any accessories like grips or bipods that come with it. Like the sights won't be painted, for example, but other solid parts. All we have to do is make sure at least 50% of it is painted, and then it's all right to send to you, if that makes sense. So coming back again, solid stock with a slightly adjustable shoulder. There's a button on the back, if I can press it. Oh, it's locked up, there we go. That just gives you a little bit of adjustment, making sure that it's comfy and shoulderable when you are in a prone position. The silver bit on this side, there's a matching one on the other side that gives you a QD sling mount, and there is a loop style one at the back. Standard grip, it's super comfy. When you've got this in it as a solid stock, you just want that standard grip. It makes it nice and comfy. But if that is everything, if there's any final questions, please pop them up. If not, we will leave it there. It's been great talking to you as always. Loads of really good questions. I hope we've answered them as best we can. If we missed your question, please drop us a message on Instagram, and we'll try and answer your question as quickly as possible. I've just seen another question pop up. So Luke Light on YouTube, what weight BB can this lift and at what range? So we always get questions like how far, what's the range of something. It's almost impossible for us to test it because obviously it depends whether or not, so each AEG, so we put on the website that this is about 340. There is a plus or minus with that. The next one you get out of the box might be a bit lower, might be a bit higher. And then it also depends on hop, weight, and everything like that. With this being a standard power AR style at 340, 345, I wouldn't want to go higher than a 0.28. With a 0.28 and a 500mm 603, completely guessing, you're easily going to get out to 40 meters. Anything beyond that is a bonus, really. That's real meters, not airsoft meters. So if you measure it out and see what 40 meters looks like, it is a long way. But your BBs probably are going to go further than that. What we mean by 40 meters is accurately. So there's nothing wrong with you sort of aiming up, start lobbing BBs, getting it a bit further. But accuracy is where we like to try and give our estimates to. But it is very, very hard to do so. But if that's everything for today, thank you very much. We'll be back again tomorrow for our brand live stream. We're covering PTS tomorrow, and if you're about on Friday, we are going to do our workshop interview live stream. So we've got to get staff from the workshop in. So if you've got any questions, for example, like this, looking at improving this to a DMR, if you want to jump on board, if there's other things that you want to do to your equipment, jump in, drop your questions down. We'll have our workshop staff here, talk about barrels, hops, upgrades, MOSFETs, anything like that. Join us, have a chat. It should be fun. Until then, I'll see you in a bit.